My mom created a fun way for us to learn the most important rules of life. Yah's commands.
With Yah's Big Ten Commands, we get to see His will best for us.
Keep Yah first.
No graven images.
Don't take Yah's name in vain.
Remember Shabbat and keep it holy.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Mr. and Mrs., don't cheat.
Don't steal.
Don't tell lies.
Don't covet.
This changes everything. Get your set of Yah's Big Ten Commands at Big Ten Designs today.
Salama family. I hope that y'all are doing well tonight. Well, actually, it's the afternoon for me, and it's the evening for my very special guest. I'm so excited because tonight, I get the opportunity to talk to two amazing warriors for the Most High Yahuwah. This family has done such phenomenal work on the continent, the motherland. And this family has touched so many lives that I am very honored that they will bless our platform tonight and minister to us as Yahuwah will call them to do so. So I'm going to get started in a minute with the phenomenal couple of T3andMe, Tim and Siobhan Ford. But I'd like to, at this moment, just take a minute out to say shalom to all of you, and then we'll go ahead and get started on this very special day. All right, so if you're wondering why I sound a little bit weird, it's because I'm actually using two computers to get this live on tonight. Why? Because y'all know the devil be busy. But we rebuke him in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Ain't that right, Sister Sharon? Peace and blessings to you. Glad to have you here tonight. Brother Timothy, glad to have you here as well. Chosen by Yah, I'm glad that you are going to listen in and, get that work done, but don't overwork yourself now, sis. Peace and blessings to you, Sister Malaka. Good to see you as always. Camp 2 Player up in the building. Peace and blessings to you all the way from Tanzania. And we got Mama Mariah up in the building as well, joining us from Tanzania. That's what I'm talking about, the Tanzanian family out here tonight. All right, Brother Timothy, I gave you a shout out already. Fan 2 Lisa, greetings to you, peace and blessings. Sister Kelsey Daniels, peace and blessings to you as well. Blessed Green Chick, peace and blessings. We've got Cynthia Lindsay, peace and blessings to you. And Sister Rhonda, peace and blessings. Privacy in the building, peace and blessings to you. All right, family. So what we're going to go ahead and do is get started with introducing our special guest. Y'all do me a favor, give a warm welcome to Brother Tim and Sister Siobhan of T3andMe. Peace and blessings, family.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Shalom.
Shalom, family. Shalom.
Yeah, shalom.
Now, family, do me a favor, put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear us clearly, me as well as them. And if you cannot, please put a 2 in the chat. All right. Well, while they're doing that, again, welcome to the platform. I am so glad. Awesome. Everyone can hear us. I'm so glad to have y'all on.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the first time we've connected on this platform.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity, great conversation. I'm excited to see, what come from.
Yeah, I think we tried once before, but I think I had just had Naya at the time, so it was like that timing. But yeah, all in this season. Yeah. You
had baby girl, and I think I was telling you that your daughter and me have something in common, our names. So wow. I am Ashandania.
Yep.
Wow. Which you say Naya.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which in Swahili means, do you remember?
Yep.
Purpose. That's right. Purpose.
I
love it. Okay, so the reason why I asked y'all to come on is because, as I was telling my subscribers a couple of weeks ago, that the Most High is doing incredible things right now. I mean, things that, it blows our minds to see what he is doing and how he is opening up doors, making the world aware of who the true children of Yasharel are. And I thought it was so important to have y'all on this platform because of all the work that he's having you do in light of what we're going to be discussing tonight. So, so what we're going to be talking about, family, is that the United Nations is having their 10th anniversary for what is known as the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Now that is to take place on March 25th. And all this month, what we're going to be doing is speaking to incredible leaders and influencers who the Most High is using in this hour to wake our people up and to gather our people back to the continent. Okay, so it's a perfect opportunity to start talking to T3 and me because Yah has called them to do just that. So thank y'all again for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So for those of us who are not familiar about this project that the UN has been doing, what I want to do is I want to start out with sharing a video directly from the UN so we can understand what this day is all about.
There is much that we know about the transatlantic trade in enslaved Africans, and today is a day we remember the crime against humanity, the unprecedented mass human trafficking, the degrading economic transactions, and unspeakable human rights violations. But there is also much that we do not know, and today is a day we learn. Behind the facts and figures are millions of human stories, stories of untold suffering and pain, stories of families and communities ripped apart, but also stories of awe-inspiring courage and defiance against the cruelty of oppressors. We will never know every act of resistance, great or small, that slowly but surely triumphed over injustice, repression, and enslavement. But these accounts are crucial to our understanding of a past whose most pernicious and persistent legacy continues to blight our present: racism. The International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade is a time to learn about and reflect on such stories, to pay tribute to the millions of Africans who were torn from their homelands and communities, and to stand up in solidarity against racism everywhere. Today, people of African descent continue to confront racial discrimination, marginalization, and exclusion. The political, economic, and structural power imbalances rooted in colonial rule, enslavement, and exploitation still deny equality of opportunity and justice. On this International Day, let us stand united against racism and together build societies based on dignity, equality, and solidarity.
So that to me was a very powerful address concerning our ancestors and what they suffered with the transatlantic slave trade. And I believe that this is such an important event. And it's not one event. This is a day of remembrance. So it's multiple things that are going to be going on March 25th. But I felt like, you know, it needed to be highlighted because so many of us are unaware of all the things that are taking place in this hour right now with some of the top international organizations that the Most High is actually using to wake our people up. So I have one more video that I'd like to share, and then we're going to get started.
The Arc of Return is a powerful reminder of the tragic legacy of slavery in the transatlantic slave trade, an initiative of the Caribbean community and the African Union. It serves as an opportunity for reflection on the more than 18 million men, women, and children that were enslaved and transported in harsh conditions to the Americas. Years ago, I visited Gorée Island in Senegal, which was the largest slave trading center on the African coast from the 15th to the 19th century. I saw the small spaces, imagining the crowded rooms where the enslaved persons were packed. I will never forget the feeling of sorrow and distress, thinking on those who went through the very small door overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, a point of no return. The Arc of Return, much like Gorée Island, seeks to remind us of the brutality of slavery and the slave trade. Slavery was not only a dreadful individual ordeal, but a cultural trauma whereby a group of people was subjected to such inhuman pain and torture that it dehumanized their existence, their group identity, values, feelings, and their cultural worldview. The theme of the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery in the Transatlantic Slave Trade this year is Stories of Courage, Resistance to Slavery, and Unity Against Racism. It is important to learn from history and listen to the stories of those who were stolen from their homeland. Children who were snatched away from their families, daughters who were raped, sons who were sold, fathers who were emasculated, and mothers who were tortured till they dropped dead. We must discuss the legacy of slavery, especially in the marginalization of persons of African descent who are still denied justice and equality. We must stand in solidarity, united against these inequalities. This dark chapter of our history should never be whitewashed. Let us raise our voices as we continue to fight against racism and prejudice around the world, inspired by the stories of courage, resistance to slavery, and unity against racism.
Wow.
All right. So y'all got a chance to watch those two videos. What are your thoughts when you see an organization as well known as the United Nations bringing international attention to our forefathers and foremothers and their suffering through the transatlantic slave trade?
I'll let you go.
All right.
You want me
You can.
to? All right. So, my thoughts is, first, all praises, of course. And, secondly, well, I have three things. The second one is I'm glad that, it's finally someone, a platform like this saying it, because now some of our people will believe it. Believe it or not, some people actually try and, because they are afraid of what it takes to stand up and keep it real, they want to deny our history. Mm-hmm. It's like they're fearful of what can come from keeping it real and standing up and saying why are we still dealing with this? Now I hope this inspires more of our brothers and sisters to stand up and say, you know what, we have been dealing with this. This is a real thing. We have to get to the root of this. And I think it's like a promising, it's definitely promising, because we know once they begin to shine light on it and talk about it on this size of a platform, we know what comes after this. So I'm excited to see what comes with, us having a conversation and we start talking about, you guys got a lot of money from this type of stuff that y'all created and it's still here. So let's have that conversation. Okay. So I'm excited to see when that comes about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. And, this whole International Day of Remembrance and the UN shining light on what happened to our ancestors and what we're even currently going through today with racism and white supremacy and all that stuff, it just speaks to the times that we're in. Because before, people would try to sweep us under the rug. Every time we would call for reparations, they would just, shut us down, or they will pass a law and then come back and, say, no, we're going to cancel the law. So the fact that the UN, which is, international body, is actually holding them accountable, no, y'all owe these people. And, you know, what they're doing is they're going to keep fighting against it. They're going to keep trying to get rid of critical race theory. They're going to keep trying to suppress everything and, you know, just sweep everything on up under the rug. Like it's not at least 40 million descendants of slaves living right beside you guys, you know? So it's like Pastor Darby said one time in his sermon, he was like, we are evidence of a crime. You know, like by us even being over there, being alive, being in the Americas when that's not our original homeland is evidence of a crime, you know. So it's just amazing the times that we're living in, and it just speaks to the tactics of the enemy. You know, he's trying to promote that, you know, Native American Indians and everything. And it's like, why would we take on their history, the Native Americans' history, when we have our own history, which is a rich history, you know, of surviving, enduring. It's only by the grace of the Most High that we survived all of the things that the Middle Passage. I mean, for any other group of people would have went through this without the covering of the Most High, they would have been finished, wiped out. So it's just a testimony of where we are as a people, and also a sign of the times of things are changing. You know, even though America doesn't want to give out reparations or acknowledge what has happened to us in a meaningful way, it's like they're gonna probably have to have their feet held to the fire at this point, because now it's gaining global attention.
I wholeheartedly agree with what y'all are saying. And I think that sometimes what happens with us as a people is we forget that, you know, all throughout scripture, the Most High had his people confronting principalities, confronting governmental leaders, confronting people who were influencers on an international level and having the ability to change laws. And so when we think about our story, when we think about even this great awakening, it is not something that's going to be able to stay in a box. It has to burst out. It has to burst forth. It has to go before a group and a body of people who need to be confronted with their own sins against the Most High's people. So we can't have it both ways. Like we can't expect that the Most High is going to move quietly and at the same time gather us out of these nations to where this next Exodus is going to make the first one not compel, but was it hell in comparison? So I love what y'all are saying. And that brings me really to what he has been doing through you. I'd like for those of you who are not familiar necessarily with your story, with how the Most High has operated through y'all, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us a bit about, you know, how you learned of your Hebrew heritage. I love especially the part where you talk about how the great late Stephen Darby was the one who married y'all, and y'all had your wedding vows at his assembly. So please let us know about your Hebrew heritage journey.
Yeah. Oh man. So man, it started maybe 7, 8, I want to say maybe 10 years ago. We didn't start off, you know, like in the truth of like immediately coming into the truth of being Hebrews, or, you know, being descendants of the bloodline of Jacob. It really started, like, for me, it started with just like me learning about herbs. And so I was just becoming like disillusioned with the world, like different sectors of the world. Like it started off with health, you know, because I was experiencing different health issues from being in college and eating unhealthy. And so, you know, I was trying like conventional medicine and things, and it wasn't working, or it would like work for a certain amount of time and then it wouldn't never really work, you know, over the long haul. And so I started like looking up different natural remedies. And from there, my mind just started spinning like, okay, so like if they're giving us medicine that they know is actually killing us and is not going to heal us, what else are they hiding from us? What else don't we know? You know, and that kind of like started my deep dive into the truth. I think that was like around 2012. I think that was when a lot of people started waking up. I think the Most High just kind of like blew his breath upon the children of the transatlantic slave trade, and just kind of like, okay, now it's time for y'all to wake up, because in a couple of years, I'm about to bring y'all out of this land and I'm about to bring y'all back to y'all's homeland. So it started with like that journey. And then, of course, from there, I started learning like, okay, like, so this is not even the real picture of Christ. Like Christ is not a white man. And actually before that, I kind of like went on a journey into like Egyptology when I was like first awakening into the truth. Because, you know, when you first get into the truth, you're like, oh, you know, everything's a lie. Like you just want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know? So I was like, well, religion is a lie too, because, you know, was learning about Christmas and all the pagan holidays and how a lot of the pastors were like Freemasons. And, you know, when you start learning this knowledge, it can kind of make you go away and go far away from the truth, you know? So I kind of like went on that path for a brief second, and something never sat right with me about that. Like, okay, like this doesn't feel right, you know, because in Egyptology, they always want you to like renounce Christ. I never got to that point. Something was always, the Holy Spirit never let me get to that point. And so I was like,
That's interesting.
just
I didn't know
searching
that.
yeah. I was just searching for the truth online, searching for the truth, and somehow Pastor Darby's video just popped up on my timeline out of the blue, because I was, you know, praying, asking God, like, what is the truth? Like, what is the way? Like, I know you're the way, but like, which way to you? Because I had been raised in the church, you know, but I had just became disillusioned with the church at one point in time. So I found his video, and I think it was the video "Who Are We?" or Negroland. That was like one of the first videos I watched, and once I watched that, I was like, okay. Like now we're getting somewhere. Now I'm kind of understanding. And so I like literally binge watch his videos for like 2 or 3 days straight. And like, I was just gaining knowledge. And then I told Tim, I'm like, hey, you should, like, I think I like discovered like who we are and like what all of this whole world has been about like us suffering, us, you know, always being oppressed, us being in the condition we're in, why white people hate us. Like I was just figuring all this out. And so I told Tim, and I was like, we should go to his church, because we were in Nashville at the time. And Pastor Darby's church was in Louisville, which is like, what, like 2.5? It was like 2.5, 3 hours away from us. I was like, we should just drive down there and go. And once we started going, we never left. And he wound up marrying us in the church, and you know, kind of like taking us under his wing, doing counseling sessions with us, like really pouring into us. And everything. So he really like laid a great foundation for us. He always talked about going back to Africa. Like at some point, it's going to be time for us to go back to Africa. So I'll let you pick up. I've been talking for a long time.
That's a great story. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. On my journey, you know, we, you know, I had came from Memphis to Nashville. I was serving as an armor bearer in Memphis. And I was under a pastor, and I was like, man, all out, like serving hard. And I think in my service, the Most High like sort of allowed me to graduate to another level, because my grandmother moved from Nashville. I mean, she moved from Memphis to Nashville. And when she moved, I went and visited, and I sort of like felt a pull to move there with her. So I just felt the urge to move away, and I left my hometown as I was like serving and building a relationship with the church and like really starting to grow within the church. I felt the call to pull away. So I was kind of weirded out about it, but I knew I had to do what I had to do, because the environment that I was in wasn't really conducive to where I knew the Most High was taking me. So I decided to go ahead and leave and go to Nashville. And lo and behold, the first person I ran into was my wife. We was working at Olive Garden at the time, and I had transferred from Memphis to Olive Garden in Nashville. She was working there already, and we met there. And after we met, you know, like she said, we we started dating, and we went on a journey together, and we started like to understand the world and see what was going on. And when we saw you know, when we started learning about the images of Christ and the Christmas and the holidays and everything, we were like, you know what? Let's just try something new. We tried the Egyptology route, and like she said, it didn't sit right. And one day I remember, I got to tell my perspective, because I remember it got to a point where I literally like, I had to fall down and weep and repent. Like it got to a point where I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was like, Most High, hold on, what is this? What's going on? I lost myself. Like I had to repent and really like wash myself of what I had got myself into. And after that, we began to get closer and closer. Then we ended up finding Pastor Darby, like she said. And when we ended up visiting his church that time, when we got there, we had no intentions of joining the church. We didn't talk about that. That was the furthest thing from our mind. But when we got there, like literally, I I got snatched out of my seat to the altar. Literally, I couldn't even control what was going on. It was like, you supposed to be at this altar, let's go to this altar. Man, I went up there and joined the church, and we started driving for like, I think it was a year and a half. We drove every Sunday back and forth. Every Sunday back and forth, eating the word, getting it. And like she said, that laid the foundation for what we are doing and what we've been blessed to be called into. This work has been amazing. We've been able to help a lot of souls, touch a lot of people, be able to envision and see what they can do over here. Many people didn't even know what Africa looked like. It hit me this morning when I was on my way to actually do a video. I think I feel like I'm the eyes for some people that's like still trapped in the ghetto, still stuck. Like I'm eyes for them. Like the Most High is using me to be able to show them, like, listen, y'all, we can really do this. So yeah, it's been a journey of us just following our gift and helping each other and support each other this whole way.
Yeah.
This whole way.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic and powerful testimony. But I had heard, a little birdie had told me that Sister Siobhan was not playing with you. She was giving you the business from the start. She said, listen now, brother, you better come correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Nah, she did. I ain't gonna lie, she did.
Yeah.
She showed me her value. She made me step up to the plate. And yeah.
That's a funny story because when we first started dating, he was like stuck on this, like, I'm not dating nobody from my work, you know, I don't want no girlfriend, I'm chilling right now. So
Rightfully
like, okay,
so.
Like, so why you
conflict of interest, huh?
Yeah. So you know, I ain't gonna put all his business out there, but I basically told him, like, look, man, like, I know you like me, we like each other, you know, like, if we're gonna be serious, you know, because I had already prayed before I met him. I was like, the next person I run into, Lord, let it be my husband, because I wasn't trying to keep dating and, you know, meeting these people and meeting these crazy individuals. Y'all know the dating pool is like terrible. So I was like, the next person I meet, Lord, let him be my husband. So when I ran into him, I just let him know up front, like, look, like, you know, like, after we was dating for some time, like, all right, if we're gonna be serious, we're gonna be serious. If not, it's cool. It's not no hard feelings. You either gonna step up to the plate or not. And then he sent me an edible arrangement at work, and was in the note it said stepping up to the plate.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was just,
well, listen,
like,
ladies, y'all take some notes.
Yeah, y'all gotta hold us to the fire. That's the secret, y'all. Y'all got the
Yeah.
key. I don't know if y'all know it, but y'all got the key. Hold us to the fire. We need it.
That's right. I love that. And you know what? It's actually a part of your entire story, right? Because you all have been holding yourselves to the fire in a way in which I think that many people aren't willing to do. And you're pioneers for that reason. And I love that. So, you know, you listened to one of the greatest pioneers and drove back and forth an hour and a half every week to hear the great late Pastor Stephen Darby. And he poured so much into you. And that in itself is just amazing. But that was just a start of what God was doing through you, because he was getting ready to take you on a new journey, a journey to Africa, and specifically to Tanzania. So, so please tell us, what compelled you to go there and to start a brand new life?
I'll tell you. I'll
Okay,
start it.
go ahead.
So we were in America, and we were about to get ready to the lease was about to be up in the townhouse that we were living in. And it was the height of COVID, and we went house hunting like 2 days. Was it 2 days or one?
I think one day.
Yeah, we went house hunting one day. It was like we said, let's go try and see what we could possibly try to move to. And we drove into like 2 or 3 neighborhoods, and we just looked at each other and was like, man, this just don't feel right. Like, why are we gonna try to force ourselves to go somewhere that we know we're not comfortable? Like, these people, like, we know the state of what's going on over there, the free reign that they have, all of that to think about. So we were like, we know we're not gonna be comfortable anywhere. Where are we gonna go? So we just decided to pray and ask and seek direction from the Most High and see what He would have us to do. And man, lo and behold, this this woman that had a dream that we are in Africa paving the well. She had a dream we were in the woods in Africa, and she heard like the Most High tell her in her ear, "Pave the way," and she saw a mountain in the background of with us helping people pave the way through the wilderness. So when she told me that dream, I was like, yeah, it's time. Because we talked about coming to Africa. We knew it would be a thing one day. We thought in the future, a retirement. But when she said that in the dream, it was like, yeah, what do we got to lose? Like, we really ain't tied to nothing no more. We can sell everything. And really, we got our gifts, we got our business, we got each other, we got the camera. Let's just do it. Let's go and make it happen. And that's how it happened.
Yeah, and it was such a blessing because right around the time that, our lease was up and we were trying to figure out where we was gonna move, and I had the dream. And man, I just lost my train of thought. What was I about to say?
It was a blessing. You had the dream right around the time we was about to move. The
Um,
flights.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So around that time, I had just had.
Hold on, I just have to say really quickly, that was really cute. I see, that's oneness right there. Baby, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. What was I getting ready to say? No, go ahead.
I had just had T3 around the time. So I was trying to do like womb steams, like vaginal cleaning and everything. And so he was a carpenter. He was going to school for trade school to learn carpentry and woodworking. And so I was like, can you make me a vaginal steam box? And so he made me one and he posted it on Facebook. And like once he posted it on Facebook, like a bunch of his friends and like family members and colleagues were like commenting like, "Oh, can you make me one? Can you make me one?" And so it wound up turning into a whole business. Like we were literally, he was making the boxes and we were delivering them to Memphis. And then from there we put it on Etsy. And once we put it on Etsy, it became a bestseller. And we were getting like a bunch of orders like each day, to the point where it was able to fund us to be able to come over here. We made like that, like a lot of money within like a short amount of time. And so we were able to use that to buy our plane tickets, to get our hotel. So once we made the decision, like we're gonna go, like the Most High just increase our business, our herbal business that we have, and we were able to use that to get over here and to stay over here. We left in 2020. We first went to Rwanda for 1 month, and then we came to Tanzania. We've been in Tanzania ever since, by the grace of the Most High.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love that because it's showing so much of the faith journey. And I really think that that's what, we need to understand. Those of us who the Most High has been placing the continent on our minds and our hearts for the last couple of years, this really is a faith journey. I'm going to take a step of faith. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it feels like every day, right?
Hey, yes. It's okay though. One day, you just got to keep walking.
Amen. Amen. Powerful. So now you're in Africa. You started your herbal business before. It blows up on Etsy, which is amazing. Teach me your secrets. But nevertheless,
I got you.
Go ahead.
That's a good book. We got you.
Thank you. You go onto the continent with this new source of income and new direction, pushing the herbal business. But it's so much greater than just getting to the continent, because that dream was about helping those in the diaspora come over to the continent. So in your own words, why do you feel the need to engage with continental Africans and those in the diaspora the way that you do?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a great question. And going back to the prophecy of Ezekiel 37 of the two sticks coming together, the dry bones coming together, there's no way we're going to be able to overcome what these devils have planned for us if we're not united. We all have something to bring to the table. Those who were in the Americas and, scattered to the four corners of the earth, we have a unique knowledge and a unique skill set from being there. Like America is I wouldn't advocate anyone to go to America, but one thing America did teach us was skills, trades. Like we really got a good knowledge of how to build things because we built that whole entire country. So we have like a unique skill set. And then when it comes to the continental Africans, they have a unique skill set in that a lot of them, there's some, of course, Europe and Western traditions have weaved itself into the continent. But for the most part, they're a lot more connected to their roots and their culture than we are. They can trace their roots back. They still have people living in villages the way that they were living hundreds of years ago. They have knowledge on how to till the land, how to cultivate the land. Of course, they know how to speak the language. They know how to deal with each other because it's a completely different culture out here. The way we deal with each other and the way we reason and logic and think about things is completely different than how they think about things and how they deal with each other. So in order for us to unite, because like we have the skill sets and the money and the knowledge of the West to build over here, and they have that other side of the knowledge. When we put that together, we're unstoppable. And that's what they are poking at. That's what they want to keep us divided by all these different things, religion, the name of Christ, Sabbath days, Africans don't like us, African Americans don't like Africans, it's all of these different tears that the enemy has sowed into us coming together and unifying. But we see the bigger picture because at the end of the day, we know what the scriptures say. The scriptures state that we will come back, we will unify, and we will be given the promised land. Yep. So what we see going on right now is just, it's not even real, because all of this is going to pass away, and the kingdom, we're going to be over here building the kingdom over here. Yep. So that's what we see. We see the end result. People are stuck on it now. The infrastructure, or like the so-called beef between Africans and African Americans and all these other different things. But we see the healed side of that because that's going on right now, and that was an effect of what they did to us and how they kept us divided and how because we went through what we were going through and they went through what they were going through. They also went through colonization, racism, slavery, being raped and mutilated and genocided as well. So once we heal from that, we're sick as a people. We have a lot of healing we need to do as a people, and we can only do that when we come together and when we unify. So that's the vision that we see. We see the end result. We don't see right now. We see right now, and we come up with solutions where we can solve different problems right now. But we see the bigger picture.
Amen. And you asked why we feel the need. We feel the need also because literally, like, we laugh about it every day, but literally we're called. Like, we have to engage with our people. There were instances where we wasn't even supposed to be where we at right now. So our that's all we think about and talk about is how can we help? What can we do to help? Because there's nothing else for us to do but help to make it a smoother transition for the people who gonna be running over here later. Mm-hmm. Like, we know at some point everybody gonna wake up and be like, man, we got to get over there. Even if people can't even use YouTube or the social media platforms, we know people are gonna be trying to remember, like, what country T3ME was in? I think it was Tanzania. People are going to be doing that at some point. So we literally, I've been feeling this since I was a teenager. Like, I've prayed and asked the Most High to help me to learn how to help my people. Like, give me the knowledge. I thought I would be a lawyer doing this, but once I realized I didn't have to go to law school to help my people, like, I was fine. So I've just been asking the Most High all the time, like, help me to help my people. Show me what to do to help my people. Lead me to that. Yeah. So we called to do this. That's why we feel the need, honestly.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to add to that is that, it's also for the generations behind us, because we have 2 children. When we left America, we had 1 child. Now we have 2. We had 1 child here on the continent. And if I can do anything in my power, I'm not going to pass on this struggle to my children. I don't want my children to be fighting to get their reparations, to be fighting racism, to be fighting for a seat at the table, to be, having to deal with all the things that we're dealing with. When the scriptures say that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, so that's what we're over here doing as well, setting our children up and our family for a good foundation, so that when we have grandchildren and they have children and they have children, they don't have 10 steps ahead of the game. They're 1 step closer to what the original life that the Most High had for us, which is plans for us to be prosperous and to be the light of the world. So it's a lot of different things, but those are like the main things.
Oh, those are very fascinating. Um, how do I say it? It's like your mind, the way you're thinking about coming at living on the continent versus living in America where that's all you knew beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I see the end result.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not focused on all of the obstacles along the way. And I think that mindset is so important to have because it takes a lot of work. And
Mm-hmm.
you all are doing that work. You're doing so much work. As a matter of fact, you've got so many projects that you're working on. I'd like you to just give the audience a snapshot of some of the things that Yah has placed in your hearts to do during this really short time that you all have been on the continent. It's been
Yeah.
what, 3 years since you've been there?
Yeah, like 3, almost going
Almost
on
4.
4,
It'll be
not
4 in
quite 4.
August.
Going on 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's still for all the work that you're doing. Let's give us a rundown. What has he laid on your hearts in terms of projects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first project he put on our heart back in 2021 was the Zion Eco Village, which basically was it's an off-grid, self-sustainable, faith-based community. So essentially, what we're doing is setting up a community for those who are in the faith to have a place where they can buy land, where they can build their homes, where they can set up a business, where they can, leave a legacy for their children and those coming behind them. It's essentially like a place of refuge. So that was the first project that the Most High laid on our heart to start doing, was Zion Eco Village, and out of that birthed a lot of different things from there. So within Zion Eco Village, the housing and the business side of it, we also have the agricultural side of it, because the Most High was like, okay, you have the community, now we have to be able to feed the community, and also to be like Joseph, like to start, planting seeds and storing up seeds. And so that when the famine does come, or when the hard times do come, we're in a position to be able to feed the world. We're in a position to be able to get wealth. And also while getting wealth, we're also being a light to the nations. So we started Zion Food Forest, which is basically like an organic permaculture farm within the eco village. And we're planting like all different types of things, superfoods, herbs that help fight cancer, herbs that help fight HIV, plagues, because we know that they're really attacking us in health. Like a lot of our community is sick, overweight. They're dealing with a lot of different chronic illnesses. Cancer is a huge one. So the very first thing we planted on the farm was moringa trees. We planted an entire fence of moringa trees, because the leaves and the seeds and the seed pods of moringa are known to help. I can't say the C word on here, but they're known to help reverse cancer.
Yeah, people
So
don't know about that moringa. Let me tell you, that
yeah.
moringa was my go-to during the pandemic.
Mhm.
It's actually
Yep.
known as the tree of life.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because
Yep.
of how beneficial it is. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. And what's crazy is it grows fast. Like it's one of the fastest growing trees. Like it grows like in like 8 or 9 months. You already have like a tall tree. We have like tall trees, like taller than Tim already on the land. So
Yeah,
you
don't
know,
plant it near your house because it will uproot your
yeah,
foundation.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Moringa
My,
ain't no
my
joke.
grandfather has a huge moringa tree outside of his house,
Mm.
and those roots run deep.
Wow. All praises. So he had us, planting, and we were able to actually like bring people on board with the project. So without saying too much, but basically, like if people invest in the project or decide to buy land within the project, it also helps them, because we know that coming to Tanzania or coming to any country in Africa, there are certain laws you have to abide by. If you want to purchase land in Tanzania, you actually have to be part of the business. So, we set it up to where people can join the business, and once they join the business, they can purchase land um, within the community, or within the community. um so it's basically like the Most High had us setting up things that will help others, that we can bring other people on board, with us, even people who aren't necessarily ready or able to leave from America or wherever they are right now. They can still invest in Africa, they can still build in Africa. And so when it's time for them to come, they have a smoother transition. I know y'all seen all the stories online where people come and they have like, hiccups. They don't know the culture. They don't know, how to navigate business. They don't know how to do visas and things and everything. So basically he's having us pave the way to make it easier for people to get over here. So once you join the business, you can get your permits and your visas under the business. So it just kind of makes everything a lot smoother and simpler. And a lot of people don't know how to set up businesses, and they were never business owners, but they still want to get land. So it's just really like a win-win situation. And with the food forest, it's an investment. So if people invest in the food forest, they have a chance to actually get returns on their investment. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Brother Tim, were you going to say something?
No, she did it.
She did it all. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you what stood out to me.
Mhm.
It was the Land Project. So I want to share this short video and give our listeners a chance to see what y'all are doing right now on the land.
Okay. Hey everyone. So this is our shamba, our land here. And we aren't doing this, but they're building a structure for the farm workers to come have somewhere to stay. The agricultural land is right across the road there. So as you can see, there's so many beautiful trees out here: cashew, coconut, imbe.
Imbe. What is imbe?
Neem. Oh, imbe is mango.
Yeah, girl, you talking
Chocolate
Swahili. Look at you.
So yeah, there's only two people out here, a Babu and a Kaka, and they're building the structure here with just wood. And for the roof, they're going to use coconut leaves for the roof here. And look, they made this ladder here. This is the ladder. Yeah, you don't even need a whole bunch of money to live off grid. It's really like simple. You don't have to overcomplicate things. But they're making this structure here with just wood, the soil from the earth, and coconut.
Babu, shkomo. Rafiki, habari. Karibu sana T3andMe. YouTube.
So yeah,
Goodie.
there's another ladder there. So it's only take like 2 weeks to build this structure, and the structure costs about $400, a little less than $400. You can build a traditional African Tanzanian home.
Simple as that.
Yes. And there'll be an outhouse right over here by this tree over here. So yeah, y'all, this is the continuation of an amazing project the Most High has us working on, feeding the world, because we see what's going on with the world. We see that food system, we see that they are tampering with the food, tampering with the genetics of food. So it's going to be very, very important in the future, moving forward, for us to be able to grow our own food and to live off the land, to know how to build structures, know how to work with the earth and the environment, to make sure we're self-sustainable, and to follow the principles of the ancient ways, going back to the ancient ways of working with the land and working with nature, so that you can put as least amount of input and as least amount of money as possible into something to be able to sustain itself, the least amount of money. So yeah, this is the progress.
Wow.
Amen.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, first and foremost, I got to say, I really don't appreciate with my old brain, y'all just putting that Swahili out there like it ain't nothing. Y'all just like, asante sana. And I'm over here like, okay, hold on a second. What does that mean again?
Yes.
No, but I love it.
That's crazy.
You guys are doing an amazing job. And I know that it takes a mental shift, right? To go from the way that you know life in the West, someone that's used to this certain way of life, right? Like with all the modernity. How will they have to prepare themselves mentally emotionally, and even spiritually living
Wow.
in Africa?
Mm. That is that's a great question. You wanna
I'll start.
know?
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Spiritually, oh man, I would say you have to have childlike faith.
Yes, faith.
Faith in the end result. And the end result is a healed family. Like you gotta keep that at the forefront of your mind. Like you gotta always remember like why we came here is to heal from what we dealt with. And you can't run back to your vomit. You can't go back to where we escaped from no matter what. Like you gotta tell yourself that this is where I'm gonna be. This is what I gotta deal with. This is my new home now. Like whatever I deal with, whatever hardship come my way, I'm gonna keep the faith and just walk through whatever that is blindly if I got to, because I know I'm gonna get to the other side. I know it's worth it. It's better than where I was and what I was going through. And what is it? Mentally, we have to start training ourselves to see the positive. Like we are trained to be negative. In that environment, we train to always highlight and dwell on negativity. So when you come here, you can't allow yourself to dwell on negativity because your joy will be stolen from you. And that's what the enemy wants. Because there's a lot of negativity around. It's running rampant. So you still have to make sure that you protect yourself and guard your gates from negative people, negative influences, so that they don't allow your joy to be stolen and taken away from what you are trying to do over here. Because once your joy is stolen, man, that'll take people out. It's like if you that's the tactic of the enemy, because it's like you still working, you still doing things, but you're not in the right spirit. So it's like you're not really working. You're working in vain because you don't have the right spirit of what you're doing. You're planting seeds of negativity, you still being negative. So you got to have the mindset of, I'm not going to be negative. I'm going to focus on the bright side of everything. So yeah, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah. And I think starting off with like the mental and the spiritual kind of like goes hand in hand, but it's like a lot of people, there's a parable that Christ said that I love that kind of pertains to this. In Matthew, he was talking about, he did a parable where there was a gardener and he threw seeds on the ground, and some of the seeds fell on ground where there was stones, and some of the seeds fell on ground where there was thorns, and then some of the seeds fell on good soil. And a lot of the people who have trouble acclimating or adjusting to Africa, because again, it's nothing like the West. It's completely different. There's not a lot of the same conveniences. Infrastructure is different, and the culture is different. The way they do business is different. The pace of life is much slower. So a lot of people don't have patience, which is one of the fruits of the spirit. They lack patience. If something doesn't happen right away, they get offended, and that they use that as an excuse to go back to what they know, to what the Most High delivered them from, to what they said that the Most High told them to do. The Most High told you to come to Africa. So that should be the only thing that you focus on. The Most High told me to come here, so come hell or high water. I don't care what happens. I don't care if this happens, that happens. I'm going to still do what the Most High told me to do. So going back to the parable, a lot of the people, one of the things that we want to make sure that people don't do when they come over here is to be like the person in the parable who they sowed the seeds on the ground with the stones, and the ground with the stones, it was shallow soil. So although the seeds got into the soil and they sprung up quick, the moment a storm came, all those seeds got washed away to the sea. And a lot of time that happens here. People, they come here and they start off good. They're happy to be here and everything is going great. And then the minute something happens, the minute they get scammed, or the minute somebody overcharges them for something, or something goes wrong with their business, or they fall out with somebody because of some reason, something goes wrong with their land, anything, they pick something, they're gone, they're offended, and they're ready to go. They're ready to destroy the whole project. So before you come to Africa, you have to make sure that you're going to be prepared for what Africa entails. Even the Israelites in ancient times when they were ready to go in and take the promised land, it wasn't easy.
Man.
It wasn't easy. Some of them was scared. They was like, no, we can't take the promised land. There's giants in there. There's all sorts of craziness going on over there. They was scared. They came back with a bad report. And those who came back with a good report, they was like, no, we can't take the land. Like, yeah, it's giants there, but so what? What's a giant to the Most High Yah? You know, so you have to have that faith. Like, yeah, we're in the promised land. There was people in the promised land already in the ancient times. There's people here in the promised land. It's people we have to deal with. It's things we have to put up with. It's cultures that we have to deal with. Things that we don't like, we have to deal with. But again, like we said earlier, it's the end result that you're looking at. Yeah, there may be negative things that's going on. Things are not perfect. Things need to be changed. That's what we're here to do. We're here to take the possession of the land. We're here to change the land. We're here to be the light in darkness. You can't be the light if you're amongst the light. We're the light in darkness, you know. And so, yes, Africa is beautiful. Yes, Africa has beautiful weather and it has food and everything like that. But don't be naive and not also consider the negative aspects of Africa as well.
Yeah.
So people really need to be prepared to deal with all of the things that come with navigating a land that is unknown and foreign to you that may have negative elements there.
Yeah. Emotionally.
You
right?
know, I think about the reality that in the lands of our captivity, we get scammed, we get mistreated,
Yep.
we get oppressed, we get all manner of negative things happening to us by the oppressors as well as our own brothers and sisters. But you made an excellent point, because when we think about the continent, because our minds have been trained to look at our own land from a negative light, the minute we experience one thing that is negative, we're ready to jet. And I think that we have to understand that there are layers to this. It's spiritual. And it's one thing that the oppressor would always say to control us, would to say whenever we were protesting because of some harm that was done, well, if you don't like it here, just go back to Africa.
Yeah.
Like it was a punishment. And that has put inside of the core of our being that Africa equals poverty, greater oppression, affliction, and we should just go ahead and deal with the devil that we know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, but this is the work that the Most High has laid on your shoulders to change the narrative.
Man,
it's hard.
It's
Lord, it's been a journey.
That's hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the UN for a minute, right? Because they're talking about remembering what our forefathers and foremothers went through. What do you think our ancestors' dreams for us when they were plowing another man's land in the Americas?
I know that they wished and longed and would have given every probably limb off their body for them to be able to go back, or for their children to be able to go back to the land. You know, it was some people that even drowned themselves. They would rather drown than to become a slave, to become a concubine or a bed wench, or, you know, somebody's play toy. They would rather have died. And for us to have the opportunity to go back to land and to spit in the Most High face and basically tell them, I don't care about that. I don't want that land. I don't want my inheritance. That's, worse than Esau. You know, and people have to really think about the spiritual implications of what they're doing and what they're saying. You know, I know it's cute to get online and to type stuff and to be negative and to say something crazy like, oh, this, whatever they be saying. But, like people, it's the end times, like for when we expect that, we expect, people to do that. And you kind of just gotta have thick skin, you know, like those of us who are called to do different things within the end times, you know, we all have our different roles and everything. We just have to stand firm in what the Most High told us, because you know, we see the chess pieces moving, we see everything that's moving along the board, and so we have to make sure that we understand what's going on in the times that we're living in. You know, we see the UN is remembering this and doing this stuff. It's only a matter of time before reparations come down the road, you know, and it's only a matter of time before the destruction of America comes. So it's like a short window where people have to be able to leave and to prepare and to figure out what they're going to do, where they're going to go, get their ducks in a row, and everything like that. So, man, we just have to be prepared, and we have to everybody got to bear their cross and just try to harvest as many souls as possible, despite what everyone is saying, despite what's going on in the world, despite if we haven't got our reparations yet, it's coming, you know, and so we can see the writing on the wall.
I want to address this comment here. TMH will not put us in a land where we have to pay a lawyer for residence. Actually, Black Americans are not Africans. Now, I can say a lot of things about that statement, but I'm interviewing you. So, Brother Tim.
I already know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
There's the father of the faith, Abraham. I was just reading this a few weeks ago. And when I read, I told my wife, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know this. But the father of the faith, when he was sent on his journey, father of the faith, y'all know Abraham, the one we all talk about, he actually had to go and buy land.
Mm-hmm.
He had to use money that the Most High blessed him with to buy some land when he went on his journey. So one thing I've learned, Ashonda, is when people say ignorant things, they literally help the algorithm. They help with the engagement. So we just have to thank them when they say ignorant things, because they're actually helping the engagement and helping it reach the people it's supposed to reach. So yeah, man, the father of the faith, Abraham actually had to go and purchase land. And it's just a part of the process. I'm sure that person have money and they're probably in a good position to be able to buy a whole bunch of land.
Mm-hmm.
But because of, like you said, what was put into us, people feel like everything that's over here is negative. That's a form of self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about Africa, but why should I have to use my money if that's my land? Well, it's a tool. Most High gave money is just a tool for us to get things done on this side of the world. So if you got a tool, a bunch of tools, and it's able to purchase something, why wouldn't you use that to do what the Most High is telling you to do? So yeah, you just have to understand where some people at, and man, know that the father of the faith, when he was sent on his journey,
got a lawyer. Probably he had to do something, because you can't just go and buy land from somewhere. You have to meet with the chiefs, the officials, or the magistrates, whatever it is. You have to meet with somebody. You have to meet with, maybe not have been called a lawyer, but it was some sort of official person that you have to meet with in order to buy the land. So, you know, like I want to be nice when people like you said, when people say things like that, you know, you just have to educate them. Like, hey, maybe they didn't know. Like, yes, you do. Like, there's something that's going to be required of you. You know, the Most High can just magically drop things in our lap, but He never does that. Time and time again, He's going to see, are you going to have the faith to do what I told you to do? Because He told Abraham to get out of the land, away from his family, and go to another land. And then when he got there, He told him to buy land. When he went and visited Lot, He told him, y'all have to leave, pack up all y'all stuff, and leave out of Sodom and Gomorrah. He could have just magically teleported Lot. He could have magically teleported Abraham, but the process is where your faith is built. He wants to see, are you going to have the faith to go over there? Are you going to have the faith to trust a lawyer to get your land? Are you going to have the patience to go through the process? Oh, it's taking longer than usual. It's taking 2-3 months longer than usual. Like I'm you know, everybody, you know, and then you're ready to throw in the towel. He wants to see, are you going to have the faith? Are you going to hold the posture? Are you going to hold on to the last thing that He told you in the last season to do? So it's all a process. You know, the wilderness experience, it's really for us to build us up, to build up our faith, to build up the fruits of the Spirit within us, to build up our witness, to build up our testimony. Because at the end of all of this, we're going to have a beautiful testimony to tell. What people went through 400 years of slavery, was raped, murdered, and all the crazy things that happened to us. Elevator bait turned into clothes and shoes and all these things. And now we're the light of the world. That's a powerful testimony. And so don't knock the process. There's a process to get in the promised land. You're not just going to go in there and magically it's dropping in your lap. You have to go and take possession of the land. When you take possession of something, that means you take it by force. The scriptures say that the kingdom suffers violence and the violent take it by force. So there's things that we have to do in order to take our land, in order to reclaim our heritage. So, yeah, it's just something that's going to be required of us.
Here's the thing. Klaus Schwab, about 2.5, 3 years ago, said, "You will own nothing and you will be happy."
Yep.
Most of us never even heard of this man, Klaus Schwab, before the pandemic. Okay, let's just be honest. Most people still have never heard of Klaus Schwab, and they've never heard those words. You will own nothing and you will be happy. The truth of the matter is that in America, I can't speak for other Western nations, but I can speak for America. Do you pay property tax? Well, then you really don't own your property. Right. Because the minute you decide that you're no longer going to pay property tax on a house that you spent 30 years paying off a mortgage to purchase, that bank will take that house from you as though you never done. So when we talk about the reality of quote unquote owning land, you don't. When you go to the continent, what's happening is the Most High is using brothers and sisters like T3 and me and more people that he has put on the continent to broker deals and to work with governmental leaders to be able to open up pathways for our people who are in the diaspora to be able to go there and have residency. So it's not the fairy tale that we would like to imagine, but that's life. No matter where you are, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be rules, there's going to be laws that you have to follow. And especially we as an Israelite people who continue to talk about the laws, statutes, and commandments should be the first ones to understand that every nation has rules. Yes. And we have to follow them. So I just wanted to put that in there, that caveat, because it's important that we look at this from a realistic standpoint and allowing Yah to do what he does best. So I want to pivot a little bit because we were talking about our forefathers and foremothers a minute ago and what they dreamed for us as they plowed another man's land in the Americas. But my question is, what is our dream for our children and our grandchildren concerning the way they think about the motherland?
That's a great question. Well, it is my dream that my grandchildren, or children and grandchildren, understand the value of our motherland. Understand, the strength in us being here, the strength in us being united, the strength in us working together, and the strength in us just having faith and staying strong and enduring. Like I want them to understand and see the value in, staying true to your core values and working for your legacy and your family. I guess the most important thing, working for the kingdom, working for the people. Like we have nothing else to do here but to be of service for our people to get to a better place. So I hope that they see that the motherland is a place for us to be able to, work with and take advantage of the opportunities here and use our knowledge base that we are blessed with and the skills that we have to make this place an amazing continent.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And, also I want to be able to leave something for my children to make even better, whatever it is that we leave to them, whether it's land and whatever else the Most High blesses us with. I want them to be able to build upon what we did so that they can continue to shine a light and be the light, continue to build generational wealth. Because without a lot of people, they don't like money, but you need money in order to be an influencer. You need money to, all of our elders and the people in the Bible we look to, Solomon, Abraham, Noah, they all had great wealth. David, they all had great wealth. So you need the wealth in order to build the things that the Most High requires us to build. We need the wealth to be able to take care of each other, to be able to minister to the nations, to be able to go into the nations. You can't go into the nations without money. You have to buy a plane ticket or a bus fare or something like that, So contrary to what a lot of people like to say, you need money and you need wealth in order to be able to build the kingdom and to really truly be the light of the world. So I want to pass on to our children, Africa, like that's really all they know. Our children, they speak Swahili fluently. A lot of times I have my oldest son translate for me sometimes if I don't like quite understand what's being said, and he'll tell me like, Mommy, they said, XYZ. So, I want to be able to pass on that culture to them. He even has a lot of their mannerisms. Like he talks like them. They use their pointer finger a lot, and he talks like them, and he has their mannerisms and everything like that. So I really want them to be able to be connected back to their roots and their true culture, and not be so immersed and entrenched in the ways and the customs of Babylon, which is, toxic for us. And it's really interesting because the place where we're at in Bagamoyo is actually the place where they ship the slaves off from East Africa. A lot of people don't know that there was a slave trade in East Africa as well. They shipped people off from Bagamoyo, and they shipped them to Zanzibar. They shipped them to the eastern countries, and some of them they even shipped to the plantations in the Americas. So where we're at, there's a slave castle. You can come and like look at the slave ruins and everything like that, and see where they shipped them off at, which technically considered a door of no return. So that was one of the first things we did when we actually came to Tanzania, was visited that place and reclaimed. We walked the path that they walked and reclaimed our authority and our right to be back in this land. Actually, put our feet on the places where they were at. So that's what I want to leave to those, to our children and those coming behind us.
That's amazing. Speaking of the children, one of the biggest criticisms of the continent is its lack of available creative resources for the youth. So things like recreational centers and parks. Now, I remember during the pandemic, I complained to my grandfather about the parks here being closed. I'm in the Virgin Islands. And I forgot that I was speaking to a man who built his own homes. So he rebuked me and said, he said one of the saddest things he had seen from his people is their reliance on the government. Then he said, if you want a park for your children, build it.
Build one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said that to me. I was a little offended. I'm not going to lie. But I want to know, because y'all are building it, right? Have we in the diaspora been looking at this in the wrong way? And if so, what can we do to change the infrastructure to support our youth?
That's a good point. Yeah. Like build it. Like if you don't have it, build it. I think that goes across the board. Tim actually just built T3 basketball goal, because they don't have like basketball. I think there's probably maybe one store here that sells like basketball goals. It's super expensive. So he built him like a wooden basketball goal. So anything can be built. Like we see the locals here, they build everything. Like anything that you can think of, they can build it with their own two hands from scratch. They don't need like a whole bunch of tools, expensive machinery. They just use regular basic tools, hammer, saw. They may have like some electrical equipment, some small things, but they're basically like building everything from scratch by hand. So it's just like empowering to see that and to know that you can build whatever it is that you want to build. You can build it on a continent. And if you can't build it, you can get one of them to build it for you. So it's just a blessing to be here, and to see that that fortitude and that tenacity. A lot of the locals here build their own houses. They build it little by little. They'll start off with just like building the walls and the floors and the roof. And then, over time they'll, add the windows in, they'll, like add in mosquito netting, do the paint and everything. And then like after like 2 or 3 years, their house is finished. You can't do that in America for real. You have to usually oftentimes just buy it, completed, take out a loan from the government and then buy the house already completed. Or if you do build something, most times people aren't building things on their own. They're getting like contractors and things to build it. So to just be able to see our people building stuff from scratch and knowing that that's a skill set that a lot of people have that's not lost here, it's just been a blessing to see that. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. And again, I come from the bones of those who took their hands, went and gathered sand from the beach,
Yeah.
and made it into a poultice, which formed into concrete, laid down steel, and built their own homes. And it's a misnomer, right? Because a lot of people think in the West that homes in the Caribbean are not structurally strong, but it's the opposite, because we have a lot of Category 5 hurricanes. So we have to make sure that our homes are built not with drywall, but they're built with concrete. So I love what you're saying. You gotta know how to work with what you have, and the people on the continent, they never lost that sense. They understand how to build. Now, I do want to ask though, for those of us who are in the diaspora, what about our sense of identity? We whose culture and identity was stripped away from us because of the transatlantic slave trade. How do we regain a sense of self in a land that many of us have never stepped foot on?
Yeah.
Faith. You gotta have faith. That's the secret ingredient, and the sauce, the source. You gotta have faith in knowing, like, okay, I'm here to heal. Like at some point, I will get to that point. Like we have revelations every other day where we have to, apologize for things we done said and did, and our new perspective that we got, and how we, were affected by certain things. Because it's decades of trauma, hurt, and pain, and a lot of different things that we went through as a people. So a lot of that is gonna come up. You're gonna have to deal with that and heal from that. So you gotta keep that faith. That's the secret. There's nothing else I can say. I don't know what else to say but keep the faith.
Yeah. And also, a lot of one thing that I can recommend as well is like when you come here, to Africa, wherever it is, when you touch down, try to connect with the locals more. Of course, connect with the community, diaspora community. That's always, you know, definitely recommended to connect with the community just to stay safe and to get the connects you need. And, that's another thing to do as well, is to connect with the people who already have came here and been successful, connect with them and see what they did, like any tips they can give you on the culture and, cultural differences. But really like connecting with the locals, like going out with them, becoming friends with them, going out with them for whatever it is, like cultural experiences or just out to eat, or, having them go with you to the market to help negotiate different things, and just like immersing yourself in the culture, not being shy to just get out there, put yourself out there. Like even if you don't speak the language fluently, there's always somebody around who speaks English who can help you, or if you're with somebody that they can help you to like understand what's going on, and ask questions. That's another thing, because misunderstandings can happen a lot if you don't ask questions or try to understand where the other person is coming from. So a lot of times, like if something happens to me, that I may, like maybe at first feel offended by or not understand quite, you know, not understand why this is happening or why they're doing something a certain way, I'll call one of my friends or text them like, hey, like, is it normal for you guys to like do this? Or like, what does it mean like when someone says this or does this? And then they'll tell me, and oftentimes it's not even what I was thinking, like it's just like, no, like they're not even thinking that. Like they're like, this is why, they're doing X, Y, and Z. So really just kind of like immersing yourself into the culture is really the only way to learn the culture and to connect back to our roots. Going to the different villages, visiting, different rural areas and different cultural sites where you can learn about the history. A lot of the African countries had rebellions and different tribes of people who led different rebellions and things. And a lot of these tribes are still here. You can go visit them, talk to their chiefs and everything. They're very friendly, at least in Tanzania. They're very friendly. always wanting to talk and, you know, learn and teach. So yeah, just get out there. Don't be shy. Connect with them.
I love that. Get out there and connect with the locals. Immerse yourself in the community because it's really a mental shift. It's like, if you think about it, if you went to Europe, you would have to immerse yourself in the European culture in order for it to feel more authentic. And a lot of times our people do that. But when it comes to the continent, there's, again, that hesitation. And so we have to break through that. So I got a great question here from Privacy. Privacy wants to know, what drew you to West Africa versus East Africa? And also, did you know that Bantu people were Yashara?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. So what drew us to East Africa? At the time when we came, which was 2020, that was at the height of the pandemic. There was a lot of, you know, it's always been racial turmoil, but it was at a heightened level. That was when George Floyd had just recently been murdered on TV in front of everybody. And, you know, people were rioting, and there was like mass protests, and then they were, you know, about to roll out the jabs and everything like that. And so at this time, Magufuli was like, he was like the shining light, you know, like a beacon of light, you know, because he was basically pushing back against the West, like, no, like, we're not gonna, you know, and they were telling all of the countries to shut down and, you know, like lock everything down, shut it down, send out the jabs, you know, and do all these crazy things. And Magufuli was like, no, like, I'm not gonna shut my country down. These people are poor. Most of the, you know, population is poor, you know, and they live hand to mouth. If I shut down the economy for even a day, somebody's not going to eat. Somebody's child's not going to eat. Somebody's child's not going to have school fees. Somebody's child is going to go without, you know. And so he was like, I'm not shutting down my economy because you decided, you know, in your chambers that we should shut down the world. Like, I wasn't at that meeting. I didn't agree to that, you know. So he was like, no. And then he's also, I think he's a biochemist as well. So what he did was he went and tested a mango, a goat, and another piece of fruit. He tested it for the for the coronavirus, and it came back positive. And so he told everybody, like, look, this is fake. Like, this is a scam. They're playing with us. You know, like, I just went and tested mangoes and animals, and they're testing positive for this so-called thing that's going on around the world. And so, you know, he basically was pushing back against them. He had the country open when a lot of the other countries were shutting down. They wasn't allowing people in. So when the Most High told us to come and pave the way, and we saw that Tanzania had this president who basically was like a Pan-Africanist, and he was basically, you know, a righteous man. He believes in the Most High. We were like, okay, we need to go there. And, you know, we started researching it, and we're like, okay, you know, it's a coastal area. It's warm. It's in the east side where our land is, our original land is. So, like, all of the I's were dotting and all the T's was crossing. And so that's what led us to East Africa. Shonda, you there? Oh.
In order to find out whether or not this so-called, you know, V was authentic or not. I'm glad we got y'all back here. Okay. I got a few more questions, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Okay. Can you still hear us? I think maybe we went out for a second. Okay. I think we're.
Can you hear?
Because the door was open for sure.
Oh. Hold on one second.
Hello, can you hear us?
Can y'all hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, there you were us.
Okay. Now I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Well, glad we back.
Yeah. But did you hear what I
Indeed.
was saying about mega foods?
Yes. I was
Okay.
talking about it was I believe it was papaya was the second fruit that he had tested.
That's real. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was crazy because actually I wasn't really immersed in really any of the things that were going on in the continent until around the time of the pandemic, and it was Magafuli that first, was like, this is an amazing president. He's very bold.
Man, yeah.
Y'all rest his soul.
Amen.
But I got a few more questions I want to ask, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
What I'd like to know, because I know y'all have spoken about this a lot of times, but there are consequences for every decision that we make. And in your mind, if our people remain in the lands of our captivity, what are the consequences for us as a collective? And also, how do we realistically plan a course of action for those of us who are called, right? Because not everyone at this time is being called to go to the continent, but those who are feeling that sense of urgency right now, realistically, how do they plan?
Yeah. Well, the first part of the question.
How do they plan to come to Tanzania if they want to come?
I would say, you have to first you have to figure out what your gift is. Like you have to know what you're good at, and so that you won't depend on the system. Like a lot of us depend on the system in that environment. So, no, it was what's the if they don't leave now? What are the consequences? Yeah. If people don't leave, in my opinion, I feel like if you don't leave now, you may end up in a situation where you have to leave as a refugee. And now, in this moment that we are in, this time in history, we are able to tap into like wealth. We position ourselves for wealth and be in a good position to receive overflow when the world really realizes who we are. Because if you aren't in position when things happen, if you're in refugee status, you have to work your way up to get to what we're promised to. You'll still get there, but it's going to be a tougher process because you didn't take heed to the message in the beginning. So I think you risk the chance of not being able to create generational wealth, and you may hinder the growth and the healing within your family that we're looking for. I know a lot of our people are on this journey of breaking generational curses and getting in the right position. So this is an opportunity for us to do that and take advantage of that. And the second part, yeah, find your gift and ask the Most High. Ask the Most High what your gift is, and use that to propel you and fund what you are trying to do, because our gifts make room for us. Literally, you guys are watching us because we just use our gifts. We use what the Most High has given us with, and just use that to get to where you need to go. So pray and ask Him what your gift is, what you're good at if you don't know, and just work that to the best. Become an expert in it. Record yourself doing it so that you can have the documentation and show people what you're doing. Because now with content, we are able to tap into wealth as well. So if you record your journey and become an expert at what you're doing, then you are able to create something for yourself so that you can sustain yourself.
Yeah. To add on to that, go ahead, Shana.
No, sis, please.
I was gonna say, to add on to that, I will also say that once you pray and ask the Most High where it is He wants you to go and who He wants you to connect with, that's first and foremost. Don't do anything of your own accord. Always ask the Most High, like, which direction do you want me to take? So that way, when trials and tribulations come, you can still hold on to that word He gave you. Like, no, I told you to go to this area. I told you to connect with these people. I told you to do X, Y, Z. So that's the first thing, to get your foundation together. Know where you're going and stay the course. That's the first thing. Of course, like you said, make sure you have something that can fund you, like that you can turn into a business. And thirdly is you can begin to prepare right from where you are. You know, you don't necessarily have to jump up and move to Africa tomorrow. You can start investing in Africa, investing in different ventures in Africa. You can start buying land because there's other people who also offer land. You know, they help people get land. There's people in Ghana. I don't know if most guys call you there or not, but there's people, other people as well who are doing similar things as us, where we're offering programs for people to be able to invest in Africa as well as get land in Africa. You can do that from right where you are, from your couch. Really. So if the Most High has laid it upon your heart to leave Africa, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's in the near future, you can already begin doing things to prepare the way, to pave the way for yourself and your family, so that when you get over here, it's that much easier. Connect with people, consultations with people, reach out to people, and really begin researching what you're going to do, where you're going to go, how you're going to do it, what you're going to invest in, where you're going to get land at, and just start being like the little bees and the little bears and the ants who just start preparing little by little, taking a little bit here, a little bit there, and putting it together until you have a masterpiece at the end. And for those who are still going to be over there, of course, you have to make sure you're prepared for anything that may occur over there. You know, make sure you have your bug out bag, make sure you have talk to your family about where y'all going to meet up at in case anything goes wrong, or when anything, it's not in case when something goes wrong, because all of the prophecies for America and Babylon. So just like do those things, storing up food, water, off-grid type items, water purification systems, make sure you have your herbs, extra medication. Try to get off your medications if you can. You can connect with an herbalist or a naturopath. I'm a shameless plug. I'm an herbalist, so if you need help, I can help you. There's other herbalists as well, naturopathic healers who can help you get off your medication and get onto some herbs and stuff, so that when you are in the wilderness, you're not relying on the medication to keep you healthy. So there's a lot of different things we can begin to do in the meantime, in between time.
Very, very well said. Okay, so I want to speak about something that I think has been the crux of everything we've been talking about tonight, because really we're talking about a mental shift to prepare. As we're talking about a renewal of mind, legacy shift for our community. Brother Ted, recently you talked about the mental state, the mental health state, particularly of our brothers, and I'd like to take a look at that.
Health is a pandemic in America. What's a pandemic, you might ask? I'll give you the definition. A pandemic is a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease over a whole country or the world at a particular time. At this point in time, at this state, at this time in history, this time in the world, at the way that the world is going, at the way that things are looking in this season, it is not a great place. It is not a good place for us to be in that environment. Our mental health is taking a drastic hit. It's affecting us in so many different ways by us being in that environment, unfortunately. We are unfortunately continuing to believe in a system, in an environment that continuously shows us that they do not care or have our best interests at heart. Now, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of the situation. It's the reality of the fact that we've been lied to, we've been pacified, we've been made to believe that we're a part of something that we're really not a part of. Like, there may be opportunities in place, and some people may have reached a certain threshold within the society. Maybe they have a certain level of wealth, but at the end of the day, the foundation that was built upon, the system, the society, the way everything is moving in that environment is built upon something that's really nefarious and not, people don't want to address and act like it never happened. So, if the foundation isn't solid with what you are building, at some point it's gonna crumble. So it's just at any moment in that society, black men are just waiting to crumble, just waiting on the moment to crumble, waiting on the opportunity to crumble. Even if you made it to a certain level, in the back of your mind, you still feel like at some point this could all crumble on me. So our mental health takes a drastic hit in that society, and many people don't want to accept their reality and accept that. But I'm here to sort of shine light on that and give a new perspective and let people know, like, bro, we have to look at this for what it really is and really, examine this and really think about the reality of what it means to have to deal with systemic racism, what it means to have to continuously have to deal with different things within this system that's put in place to sort of attempt. Not it doesn't always have a what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't always be it isn't always successful, but it attempts to hold us back in some areas. It's like designed to do certain things in a way to hold us down. So we can't keep pretending like this doesn't exist.
Those are very powerful words. And I want to ask you, because this scripture, well, not what you said reminds me of this scripture. Deuteronomy 28, verse 28. It says, Yahuwah will strike you with insanity, blindness, and with confusion of mind. As a black man, a Hebrew, a husband, a father, what does it do to you to see the condition of your brothers worldwide?
Wow. Oh man. Whew. Man, that's a real good question. It hurts. It hurts. And it hurts, but it's like I read a book from Marcus Garvey recently. And he said in the book, man, he said there have been Europeans who have dedicated their lives to making sure that we are in the mental state that we're in. So it has to be some of us that dedicate our lives to make sure that we help pull our brothers and sisters out of the mental state that they're in. So we have to like be willing to put up the fight to help heal our people. So it's man, it hurts a lot to it's like I can see what we need to do, but a lot of people don't want to do it. We are in a situation where we free now. We are free, but men are scared to be free. They're scared to stand up, scared to man up, scared to step into their rightful position because we've been beat down so much. We don't feel like we are capable. We don't want to do the work. We don't even have really reference points. So a lot of us are terrified of stepping into their role and doing what Yah is calling us to do. So it's sad, but I'm continuously doing my part in trying to pull brothers up, and those who show that they have an understanding are trying to seek the truth and really heal themselves and use with Yah heal themselves. I always try to extend an olive branch and pour into them what I know, let them know what I know, and sort of help them in any way that I can. So I feel called to, man, anytime I see a brother down, like whatever I know, anytime I meet anybody, it's weird. I'm always thinking about how can I connect them with somebody to help them. Literally. Anytime I meet somebody I know they're in a particular field, my mind automatically goes to, okay, how can I connect you with somebody that I know that can help you level up if I can't help you? So it's sad, but I know what happened to get us in this state. So I'm committed to doing what I got to do to be an example to try and help pull my brothers out and help them to see, like, man, we got to get right. We got to man up. We got to, man, get our families in order. We got to step up to the plate. We got to heal from our issues and do what we got to do. So, yeah, it's sad. It's very disheartening. My wife has seen me cry a few times over how some brothers act. And it's sad, but we just got to keep going, man. What else we going to do? I got to keep fighting. We got to keep fighting because it's funny. I think about this all the time. It's how can we enjoy this if all our brothers and sisters ain't here? Like it's cool, but man, we got people that we know stuck. Like man, like you gotta wake up. You can be enjoying this. Like y'all can be. We all supposed to be free and healing right now. So it's a piece of like, man, I'm just trying to reel them in, sis. The best way that I feel led to.
I hear your heart.
Yeah.
That's profound. Because the state of our nation is impacted by the heads of our nation. And when you guys are in a place where your mental health is not in order, how can you lead? And that's why we must pray and we must trust Yahweh that he will lead and guide all of us back to our land. So my sister, I pose the same question for you. As a sister, a woman, daughter of Zion, wife, and mother, what does it do to you to see the condition of your sisters worldwide?
Man, it's really disheartening, just seeing like the depraved state that a lot of the women in our community are in. Like I grew up in a time where what generation are you? X? Millennials.
Baby boomer.
No, millennials.
Oh.
Yeah, the millennial generation, which is like the last
Did
generation.
you just say baby boomer?
You be trying to play. Like.
I caught that.
Wow.
No, I'm joking, y'all. I'm joking.
But
We're millennials, right?
Yeah, the millennials, which is like the last generation before. Well, I grew up at a time where we didn't have cell phones. Like we still had like house phones, and everybody still played outside, and you used street lights as an indicator of when to go back in the house. So we grew up without cell phones, and I don't think cell phones came out until I was like in, I think, junior high school. So I know what it's like the time before, like the beast really like ramped up and like took a really like stronghold over our community, because before then our community was tight knit. We were sharecroppers, we had large families, we worked together, we built different communities, Black Wall Street and things of that nature. But it took a turn for the worse at some point in time. So just to see how women behave today, everywhere they go, they got to shake, you got to twerk somewhere. Like they was twerking at the statue in Ghana, at the door of no return. They was twerking on the slave monument. So I'm like, what is this behavior? Yeah, what is this behavior? It's like it's disheartening to see, how far we've fallen as a community of women. I remember back in the day, like you had to be well dressed. Like if you see pictures of our foremothers, like in the 60s and 70s, or even like the 50s, they were well dressed, covered up, beautiful, had their hair done, lipstick on, and everything like that. So I long for the day when we get back to that. And I'm not going to act high and mighty. Like I went through a stage at one point in time where I was, not dressing the way I was supposed to dress, like in college and things of that nature, allowing the world to influence me and things of that nature. But now that I've come into the truth and, I come, Most High has cleaned me up and everything, I desire to see the same thing for all of the different women around the world. I desire to see them cleaned up and renewed and to have on their fresh garments, and for the Most High to restore their minds and their bodies and everything like that. But it is sad to see that right now. It really is sad to see that right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you all are making a huge impact to change everything that has rooted itself in us from one generation to the next that is negative. Your outlook on life, the ability for you all to stand in faith and actually go to the continent and make a difference. I'm looking in the comment section at your fellow brothers and sisters locally that are supporting you and that have had interactions personal with you, and see that the work that you're doing is a healing work. And I'm very grateful for that. I want to thank y'all so much for taking the time to come on this platform and share what Yah has laid on your hearts. And I want to give y'all an opportunity to share with everyone where they can get in contact with you, what it is that you're engaging in, especially over these next couple of weeks and months, and any other pertinent information that you believe that you need to share.
So basically what we do is, in a nutshell, we help our people invest, rebuild, and return to Africa. And by doing so, we have different things that we offer. I mentioned earlier that we have the Zion Eco Village, which is an off-grid community of like-minded believers. So if you guys are interested in purchasing land in Tanzania, we have that option available, where you can join the business and purchase land, and also you can also invest in agriculture and farming here in Tanzania. We also offer Swahili courses, online Swahili course. So we partnered with a local Tanzanian. And so if you're interested in coming to East Africa, you can learn Swahili online with us as well. I think the next cohort is March 18th of this year, if you're interested in that. Going back to the Eco Village and the investment, the agricultural investment, we usually have roundtables, investors roundtables, every few months. So if you're interested in joining, we'll have another roundtable coming up soon. And then I also offer herbal courses as well. I'm a licensed herbalist. So if you're interested in becoming certified and trained to become a herbalist, I have an online herbal course that guys are more than welcome to join as well. Our next cohort will be opening up soon as well, spring of this year. And also we offer Africa Repatriation consultations as well. So if you are looking to relocate to the continent of Africa, more specifically Tanzania, we do consultations where we'll help you. You can see everything that you get in a consultation on our website. Everything is on our website, www.t3me.org. And last but not least, if you are visiting or here in Tanzania, we have an herbal wellness center where we sell herbal products, herbs, skincare, hair care, and different things for you to heal from the inside out. So yeah, everything's on the website, t3me.org. So you guys are more than welcome to join us or to just check out what we do and get inspired so that you can make the journey for yourself.
Yeah. And we also we have a free document that we've created that really it like lays the foundation for our people to have like a smooth transition. So it's like a list of the 14 of the list of the most important things that we like felt the need to share with our people. So we've created a list and compiled some important facts and things so that our people can have a smooth transition. And that's on our website as well.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot.
Yeah, the ebook. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So we've also created an ebook. It's a comprehensive relocation guide from America to Babylon. Excuse me. We've put our journey together over the past 4 years and really put it into a book so that we can help our people just have a smooth transition. We tell about how you can find housing, negotiating, how you're finding food, buying land, doing business as a foreigner. Whole bunch of things that we are talking about in the book to help our people have a smooth transition. So yeah, that'll be on our website as well.
Wow, that is fantastic. And everything that they discussed is in the description link. So for those of you who are like, wait, what did you say the name of the website is again? You can just click on the description link and be able to get that information. Brother Tim, Sister Siobhan, I want to thank y'all so much for just coming on, enlightening us, doing the work that you're doing for the kingdom of Yah. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see those beautiful babies because we all know the original meaning of T3 and me is your little guy, right?
Yeah, man. That was the beginning.
And they're growing up so beautifully.
Thank you.
I wish we had more time to talk. There's so many more things to talk about, but I know y'all got to get some rest. It's very late on your end. And I just thank you again for taking the time out to bless us with your presence and all the work that you're doing. And y'all willing, one day, my family and I will be joining y'all on the continent. Y'all willing?
Okay, all right. Come on. There's a lot of space over here for you.
I know, right? Seriously, we're a big family, so we'll need it. So family, thank y'all again for joining us this afternoon. Remember that the UN International Day of Remembrance for the victims of the transatlantic slave trade will be March 25th, 2024. And all this month, we are taking the time to speak to incredible leaders, influencers in the body of Yasharel who are doing amazing work to talk about this very important subject. So thank y'all so much again for joining us. And as always, family, love yourselves while hating your enemies. And until next time, Yah bless and Salam.